Hello. In this introductory learning video, we're going to look at building a Tableau resume. More specifically, that's what we're going to cover in this video. It's overview of a Tableau resume. Like, what is a Tableau resume? Data prep and acquisition, curation, cleansing, wrangling. What type of data is best for a resume? Building a Gantt chart, because a lot of times what our careers are really formation of time, chronological order is how we typically show them. Building a geographical chart, show people where we've worked and the regions we've worked. A lot of times, one of the first things a player will ask is, where have you worked? Are you willing to relocate? And I think a geographical chart will show just how willing you are to go different places or work in different places. Building a skills chart and building a dashboard, because we want to put it all together. Now, we're going to use Tableau for this exercise, and I'm really excited about what Tableau offers here. They even have a Tableau resume gallery that we will go ahead and show everyone. Tableau public here. Ignore that one. Here we go. And here in the resume gallery, you can click on any of the resumes that you see posted. And a lot of people have put these Tableau resumes together. They're very cool. They're very innovative. And you can see you're only limited by your imagination. You can use advanced graphics and those kind of things. Now, for this introductory learning video, we're not going to go that far, but we certainly will look at it. Here, a lawyer put their stuff together. They're very clear, lawyer. And so you can see anybody is capable of putting one of these together. I mean, think about what we typically do in a resume. And I'll highlight my resume actually for purposes of discussion. But typically what we do, if we're kind of fancy, want to get out there and share with the world, we go to LinkedIn, and certainly everybody's welcome to go to LinkedIn, and you get this resume out here on LinkedIn, and it has, what does it really have? It's got your titles, your positions, your dates that you were there, what you were doing. Maybe it has an e-certificate for a diploma that you have or schools that you went to, and those kind of things. So it's kind of useful. I mean, the LinkedIn, a lot of people get hired from them. You can search, it's a database, so it's really powerful. What we traditionally see a lot of times with resumes, when you find these jobs, is through Quick Apply. You can Quick Apply through LinkedIn and those kind of things. But also, if you think about it, I mean, then you have the traditional resume, which is in Word. Microsoft Word has outstanding templates. You put your experiences up front, your technology skills maybe, or your soft skills and those kind of things. You add your positions, you say where you worked, what years you worked, those kind of things. You add them all in, and then you, at the bottom, you add maybe board certifications, education, any published research that you may have done, hobbies and interests, and things of that nature. That's the Word version of it. And like you said, there's basic elements. Where did I work? What city did I work? From here to here. You'll cover a lot about it. You tend to use all those great resume services that said all the key things that you need to put on your resume to make it more marketable. But let's take a look at a Tableau resume in that regard. So a Tableau resume is a little bit different. A little bit is a visual, it's like visual analytics of somebody's career. And it's not like a static or dead piece of paper. It's just like if you looked at the LinkedIn or the resume in Word. It's very static. Here you have hover over command capabilities. You can look at things. You have navigation capabilities. So let's go to presentation mode here on Tableau, and you can just see a little bit more. You can add a photo, digital capabilities, project history, back to the primary resume, and you can navigate between them. So now you have the ability to show different views and different spectrums. I have a Gantt chart here that shows all the different companies I worked at, what I've done with these companies, the number of days, or I can put the number of months. I can put anything I want inside this Gantt chart to a resume. And this is kind of different. Look, I actually went to the same school twice. I have a geographical chart that shows me where the places I've worked in the United States are and how long I've worked in each one of those, 16 months, 84 months, the skills that I have. And this is just my basic chart. Like I said, my digital capabilities and all the different things that I can do. I create a word cloud. And you notice I'm navigating back and forth with my resume. And this resume can be posted up on Tableau Gallery. You can actually add a link to this resume from your LinkedIn. So if somebody ever questions your ability to do Tableau or something, you'd be like, well, maybe perhaps you should look at my Tableau resume. But these are great things in just what a Tableau resume and how it's different. You can add different information in here that you can't really add when you're going through a normal resume. It just doesn't jump out at you. You don't have, on your normal resume, you're trying to get it down to one page or something like that, and you can't have the hover over capability, and you don't show the Gantt chart and those kind of things. So you can really put together a different story, show a different side of yourself, a very analytical side of yourself. Now remember, this will be on my channel for analytics. Myself and my partners, we have the analytics channel. We're the analytics team, and we always have all kind of great videos on this channel. So definitely subscribe to the channel, because we're always uploading good videos. And each one of these charts actually has its own learning video, like how do I build a Gantt chart, how do I build a geo, how do I best build skills. But I'm actually going to show you how to do it. And with anything in visualizations, it's all about the data. And anything in analytics, it's always about the data. So let's take a look at what we need to be successful to build a Tableau resume. And you can add different things. That's the great thing about Tableau resume. You're not limited. It's not like a structure. You're only limited by your imagination in that regard. So let's go ahead and look at these things that we can add. And what we can do is we can add our company or institution, our start date, our end date. This is typically what you get right off your resume. Maybe the position you had, the role you did, the type of work you did, or if it's an institution, maybe it was work, education, charity. And so you have different perspectives, right? You can add a whole you can add a toggle switch and just filter on your charitable endeavors. There's like so many things are out there. I'm still building mine, and I've done so many charitable endeavors. I think that it would be kind of cool to have a little toggle switch and say, take a look at my charities and those kind of things. So I think I'm adding a description, and I can add all kinds of different things. And then I can even look at impacts of those charities that I did. So an impact analysis, what I did good, what I did bad. Like, for instance, when I went down to provide hurricane relief in the Florida Keys after Irma, what was good about that, what was bad about that? How did I succeed, what worked, what didn't work? So you're going to get this data out. The first one is your career sheet. This helps you build the Gantt chart. So you really need to focus in on this and put this in. This is Excel, nothing fancy about it. You're basically creating a database, right? These are fields, each row is a record, and you're creating a database table here. Then you go to geography. The key thing about Tableau is it's really smart, and there are very many different ways of doing geography. You can do zip codes. Some of my students like the zip codes. If they only worked in one town, they worked in different zip codes. That way it could show where in a particular county that they worked. But I choose to use location codes or airport codes. I think those work really well. I identify things as either business travel or personal travel, and then I simply put the months I was there. 36 months, 12 months, 6 months. And I build up this database. And maybe you add company, maybe you don't add company. What you're sensing is that this is an opportunity to be very flexible. Now for skills, well, that's pretty straightforward, right? We have this skill. What does that mean? Maybe where you got the skill, or I have analytics, I have a level of skill. What does that mean? That means, am I good at this skill? Maybe I rate myself on a scale 1 to 100 or 1 to 10. I typically like 1 to 10 ratings myself. And you're rating these skills 1 to 10. And you should be very straightforward what skills that you have are very good and what skills that you have that are nominal. Because sometimes I'll be able to ask you a question, are you really good in, you have your skill listed on RPAs. Okay, maybe I'm not a top 10 RPA person, but I have a solid understanding of it. It just depends. And you can be very specific in your skills. You can probably be more specific in your skills here than you could on a traditional resume as you build it out. But like I said, this is just the foundation. I added something I call flavor. Is this a hot skill or cold skill? Like, for example, I used to know Hyperion Financial Management, and Oracle has subsequently moved to the cloud services, and that skill is really not as prevalent today as it was yesterday. So it's kind of a cold skill, but the cloud services are certainly a hot skill. So these are good examples. I probably need to update this resume. So it starts with building your data. You can't really build a resume in Tableau without having data. Matter of fact, you can't build a resume anywhere without having the data. So you want to get all your careers, all your dates set. You don't want to have at present and things like that in here, but you want to put it, you can put an at now formula in Excel to make sure you can get your end date for current employment. But your geography, we're going to put some user codes, and then get skills. We're going to focus on building these 3 tabs in Tableau. using worksheet capability. You've already seen that I've done it, but we're actually going to go through it and look at mine, and we're going to go back and build one from scratch. So building one from scratch requires that we go out of presentation mode and we take a look at what we're going to build. Here's a geography chart, here's a skills chart, here's a career, this is the Gantt chart, right? In that regard, career and education, I put them both on there. And you'll notice that we also have in here a days formula, which is date difference, where I calculate the difference between start date and end date. I do this to really fill in the Gantt space, to really give the length or the width of the bars in the Gantt. I think this is a great formula. And you know what, I'm going to even click that formula and put it down here, maybe put it in the notes of this video. But it's a great formula to have, or you can even key it in freehand. And then lastly, you're going to build a dashboard. If you can do those things, so you have to build 4 items: a geography, a skills, a career and education, and a dashboard. You can name these what you want. That's the good thing about it. It's not going to destroy anything, right? Resume dashboard. Hopefully my spelling is okay in that regard. So then you start off by Tableau by loading the data. I had another learning video in this series to show you how to load data. So we'll just continue from there, assume that the data is loaded, because you can watch the loading data. So subscribe to my channel. You can get plenty of information for these Tableau things. Then what you do is you look at the key things you can do, like career and Tableau resume. So maybe we focus on the Gantt chart, right? If we focus on the Gantt chart, we will start with a start date, because everything starts with a start date. And we're going to probably go to the days frequency and look at it. Ooh, look at that. Tableau is pretty good this way. It's already showing the elements of a Gantt chart. We haven't really shown the institution or company yet. We need to show the institution. I changed it. Now I have the institution. So I have the institution, Gantt chart. We got to create the sheet name. And we're going to just basically go how to build Gantt, right? And then what we'll do is we'll cover in the days formula. Now the way you do a days formula is you right click over here in this space here, create calculate field, and remember that formula I copied? I just put it in here, and you just simply type in my work days, well, or days. I already have days out there, so I want to create something new for everyone to see. And you see the calculation is valid. So what did it really have in this calculation for you to understand it? It's just like an Excel formula. And when I want to calculate a day, and I do this by 2 date fields. Now that's important to identify a date field. A lot of times students will come to me, or people come to me, it doesn't, Chris, it doesn't really understand it's a date field. It's giving a string error. It says the calculation is not valid. Well, if this calculation is not valid, it's not because it doesn't work. It works just fine. The reason the calculation is not valid is because you made a couple of errors. One, you didn't put the right field. So remember we had the field in Excel called start date and the field in Excel called end date. Okay, you make sure of that. The other thing is you have to make sure fields, which are like data, and it's not just Excel. You say, okay, you go into your data source and you make sure by clicking this here, you can look at and go, you can take a look at it and say, oh, look, it's set to date. If it's set to string, it won't work. A string is more like a word. A date is a date. So you make sure you want to have the right type of field set. This is field types. And this one is also a date. Okay, so I get it. Now we have it there. Now, the reason we do this is we can take this and we can put it into size. And now we have our first Gantt. That was pretty quick. And we can customize the charts, the legends, the titles, everything we want in here. Maybe add color. Maybe institution would add color to it. Ah, look, I've added color. I have it popped up over here. So we added quite a bit of information. You know, if I added charities, I could add filters to this. I could hit the filters and check the filters. There's endless things that you could do to this one. You can add little icons or symbols for the schools that you worked at and the schools that you went to and all those kind of great things. So this is the rudimentary basics of it. So it's a collection, a resume is a collection of items, right? And through this collection of items, you put them all together to make a dashboard. Let's take a look at the second sheet. Shall we start with geography? Remember, I had geography information. The first thing you do with geography information, remember I had airport codes when I showed you the data. If you drop airport codes into columns, you can click to show me. Tableau will show you what's available for the values you have. And here you have maps right away because it knows that the information is geographic in nature. How does it know that information is geographic in nature? Well, in the data source, like I said, the fields, make sure you click these geographic role airport. You can see you could do all these other geographic roles inside Tableau. But right now I'm using airport. You certainly can use area codes in that regard. You can use zip codes as well. Zip codes or postcodes and those kinds, or you can even use cities or congressional districts. You can see how easy it is to make maybe a political chart inside there. I like to put months, and then I like to identify whether it's business or pleasure that was in here. I think that was really great. So let's go back. How to build geo. And now I have the geo here, and you can click off to show me. And you can add some colors. Like, where would I want to add a color? Maybe, maybe company. Where I work, by what company, what places. Ah, well, that's a different perspective. And that one, and in size, I can add months to size. Oh, yes. And you can see, that was kind of cool. And you got, you can also change how you do things. In this regard, I'm just panning in different sections. This will drag it over, and you can see I worked in Europe. I was there for, let's see how long I was there actually. You see, this is a different perspective. You can't really get this on a Tableau resume, or I'm sorry, on a LinkedIn resume or a paper resume. There's no way on a paper resume that you're going to hover over and do this. I suppose you can embed a Microsoft chart object into that. But you know, it was really great when I had my time in Paris and got to work over there. I worked at some great companies and all over the world. One of my favorites for the short time that I was there basically almost 3 months, was in Australia. I got to do a lot of fun things there. I must admit, I also enjoyed working in Europe. But you know, I enjoyed working in the United States and all the different cities in the United States immensely in that regard. Remember, you can add filters. Remember, I had type of work. And you could add filters like what was personal, what was business, what was for education. In that regard, you can apply it and say, well, maybe on the personal side, ooh, look at that, interesting. And you could edit those filters, you know, what you want to show. And you know, show everything. Yeah, I won't show my education because it doesn't apply just for work or whatnot. And so you can see the different things that you can do to build out a geography chart. But it all starts about the data. And you also have to make sure that you put the location codes if you've been a lot of places. And it creates something that's kind of unique and kind of interesting, because then people can hover over and they can see things. Well, what did you do here? What project did you do here? You can add a lot of information. Let's go ahead and build a skills chart. And we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to call this How to Build a Skill. Because skills are important, because a lot of times people hire based on skills. And to build a skill, we have a sheet. Remember, it's all about the data. So the sheet was a skills sheet. So just to start with skills. And, oh, the level. People love that it has numeric values. It's good. All right, well, this is interesting. The first thing it shows up with is a bar chart. Let's go to show me. Hey, I like this one horizontal. That's okay. Maybe. Not too descriptive. As you see, you're not in. I love for skills to have these type of skill charts in this. This level is kind of strange. I don't like how that added up. But this I also like very much, and it's doing it by the number of recurrences inside the file. So these tree charts are really cool. It shows you a lot of charts. I enjoy this. Some people like to have skills for bubbles and things like this. So my favorite charts for a skill might be this. And those how you build those charts. Okay. We've covered a lot of information here. We have covered what is a Tableau resume. We have looked at a LinkedIn resume. We have looked at a Word resume. And we're comparing and contrasting each resume. So if you want to do a deep dive into into a potential candidate, you might like think about a Tableau resume. I mean, it goes a lot deeper. You can really dig in, and it gives the person who builds a Tableau resume the opportunity to express themselves in ways that you couldn't do it. Because, like I said, there are like norms associated with resumes, and you're inside those norms when you're dealing on platforms like LinkedIn or Microsoft Word. You can put things in there, but when you're in Tableau, you can put visualization. If you think about humans, we think of things visually, so you can have an opportunity to jump out at things and give things to think about. Now, let's go build a dashboard to put it all together, and let's have some fun with this. And you can see if you hover over New Dashboard, we have this palette here. Now, here's the part. This is ridiculously not too difficult to build. So what first thing we could do, and then I'll let you go ahead and design things yourself a little bit, how to do it. I like to put things floating where I can just kind of stick on this palette where I want everything to go. And let's see it, how to build a Gantt chart. Oh, I like that. Let's put the Gantt chart here. Okay. And then how to build a geo chart. We just built that, right? And then how to build a skill chart. We had that here. And you can move them around. Some things matter, the levels here, but I don't think I'm going to keep everything. So you can kind of trim what you want in here because it creates too much noise. Some things aren't that relevant. Some things are that relevant. Just remember, that's where the hover over kind of works. So you can use the hover over instead. So you can add those elements to the hover over. We don't need to have all these different charts we might have in here. And you can adjust the size and those kind of things. And where do you want to do? What do we want first? We want a career. What do people tend to look for? You can kind of say, well, maybe they like a career chart first. And I can build my career here. You see it has scroll bars and stuff, so you get a lot you can scroll through. Or you can adjust the size. Either way is fine. Maybe the skills is like, what do you have? What kind of skills do you have? I know where you work, but what kind of skills do you have? Is it relevant? Those kind of things. And you can adjust that size. Then you can add a picture of yourself. That's also a very interesting thing to do. You do so by clicking the image. So you can do a lot of things here. You can put text in here, images here, web pages in here. Make sure when you put a web page or you put a link to your LinkedIn, they might require people to sign in. So just be careful. Make sure you're using external links, not your own links, because it's going to force you to have other people sign in, and that's not really the desired effect. Blank navigations, you can put the buttons to do it, a download button to download your resume. Maybe you can actually go to Tableau resume and have it download your paper resume through a download button. In this case, we were putting image, and you drag this over here, and it pops up. Choose image. Let's see where it goes. Loading videos. Oh. Let me back up. Yes, video files. Here it goes. I put it here, and I can put this on it. And the funny thing is, you can finish, center image. You can also, if somebody clicks that image, you can have it go somewhere. So you could put like your LinkedIn button, get an image of LinkedIn, and it will shoot over to LinkedIn. So the idea is to collaborate with technology to make your resume a living thing. Everybody collaborate to give somebody a lot of information. And if you add a certification chart, like maybe these certifications are very important, but maybe people don't understand what those certifications are. Put a button to certification in there, right? When you've had that certification, like I have a Six Sigma Black Belt certification from Villanova University. I could click on it and it could go over to the program for people could see what that is. That is just phenomenal. And there we go. My picture's in there. And I have to adjust this a little bit because it doesn't line up right. And then adjust this down, the geography. And it's really up to you. You can apply backgrounds here, all kinds of things. You can do amazing things with this one. And then if you go into presentation mode, you can see I can hover over. I have an interactive resume. It shows me details. I can scroll down, scroll out. Okay, I can do all kinds of stuff. I can set to view, not set to view. And these are the basic elements of creating a Tableau resume. Remember, like anything else, it starts with the data, fundamental. So you can't just run into Tableau and do things. You need to really think about what it is you want to show and what you don't want to show. A lot of times, I've only covered 3 basic elements here. I did a Gantt chart, a geography chart, a skills chart. I added a photo. But if you think about it, and also give some thought to the photo you add. Professional pictures are great. Professionals, and you want to make it a professional picture to the profession that you're going. So maybe you don't need a suit and tie if you're working as a fire person. In that regard, maybe you need to outfit yourself in a fire suit. I don't know the answer to that, but you see what I'm saying. You want to be very specific to the career you're doing in that regard. So you don't want to be out of that realm. You want to be kind of associate. And then, of course, you show your skills. That's the most important thing that a lot of people work at. And they also want to know how often, where you are. And maybe you add why I left, because a lot of people look why you left. If you had this Tableau resume, it answers so many questions. I hope that this video was very useful. Take your time, go through it, and remember to subscribe to my learning channel, because we do a lot of great analytics here. We do a lot of great Tableau analytics. We also do other advanced analytics in here. We add visualizations on all kinds of things for environmental services, political services. So there's always cool stuff that we're building. And so subscribe to the channel to learn a little bit more about it. My team, the analytics team, we definitely put it together, and you can meet some of my other partners. I'm Chris Murphy. It was a pleasure making this video with you.